And so here we are reading, it says, this idea of being double-minded. Now, we spent a bunch of time in parts 45, 6, 7, whatever, the last couple of parts, talking about Philippians 2:5, letting the mind of Messiah be in you. So what do you think double means how many? Two. So it's two-minded. So what do you think the other mind is that's the problem? You, right? So we have the doubt because what we want or how we like it to be or how we see things doesn't match what he says and how he sees things and what he wants. And then we get tossed about. By tossed about, when you picture a boat on a rough, it gets tossed to the left, it's tossed to the right, front and back. It's being bounced around. So that's what you do. You're trying to do what Yahweh said, then you're trying to do what you said. You're trying to do what Yahweh said, then you try to do what you said. You try to do what Yahweh, you're bounced about. Now, it could be outside influences, but ultimately you only allow the influences if those influences are in line with either what Yahweh said or what you want. You're only going to do one of those two things. If I try to influence you, you'll only be influenced if you believe it's Yahweh or if you believe it's what you want. You're not going to do it if it's just somebody else's what they want. You can only do it if it's one of those two things. Unless, of course, there's a leverage that that person has over you, which again shouldn't exist. If you believe Yahweh, then nothing should have leverage over you. But you may have this perception that someone has power over you to force you to do something. No such thing. You always have the choice to say no and take the consequence. But I don't want the consequence. Well, no, I know that. Nobody wants the consequence, but you have a choice. I mean, I could put a gun to your head and I could tell you that I need you to do anything I say, you will have a choice to do it or not do it. But then you'll shoot me, maybe. That's still your choice. You could choose to do or not do. Or you can perceive that I have the power. Nobody has power over you. Nobody, not even the Almighty. You choose to submit yourself to his power, or you don't. He doesn't have power. He could, but then what would be the point of giving us free will and everything else? He puts you through things so that you can see more clearly and make choices. He's still not forcing you, but he'll allow things to go in your life so that you can see the contrast between the double-minded, your mind, his mind. Let his mind be in you. Your mind's already there and in the way. And your mind is at enmity to his mind. It's an enemy. It's an adversarial mindset. He says, if you are doing these things and you're praying in this way and you're doing all these things that he's talking about here, you are a double-minded person and you're unstable in your ways. Of course you're going to be unstable. If you're going to do things his way, well, and sometimes you're going to do it your way, and sometimes you're going to do it his way. That's unstable. Stability is only going to come from having a sound direction and foundation and listening to one voice. Now, you can be stable with your voice. You'll be wrong, but you'll be stable. But you know a lot of people that you're friends with, and it may be you, that you look in the mirror at, that you know how well they're influenced or how much you or they are influenced by other people. And you see them as unstable. Because whoever's got the stronger personality or the louder voice tends to be the one they're following at that minute. You see this in group dynamics. The children see this in the teenage dynamics, right? They're hanging out together. Somebody shows up that's got a stronger personality. All of a sudden, things shift in that direction. When that person's not there, it shifts in a different direction because of the influence that they're allowing that one person to have. I'm not thinking of anybody in particular, guys, just so you know, but I mean, I've seen this over the years with the teenagers, where we've had people that have that more overpowering or strong personalities that tend to be, charismatic enough that people tend to follow and listen and do. When they're not there, it shifts in a whole different direction. And so this, you can see then, is an unstable position. You should be the same always. And you can be if one of the two is in charge, you or him. At least the stability part could be established. Now, of course, you need to get you first so that you can then submit to him. We've said that like every week for the last couple of months, but it's important that we keep saying it. You can't, as an unstable, not just his voice and your voice, but you got all the other voices, everybody else around you trying to influence you, you can't really submit to him if somebody else has authority in your life. If you're listening to mom or dad or the boss or your brother or your sister or some other, your best friend who, got in this before you got in this, or you think they're so smart. Whatever it is, you can't truly submit if somebody else still is running the show in your life. So you need to gain full sovereignty before you can submit to a higher authority. Because otherwise you've got nothing to offer. It'd be like me trying to sell you my house and it's a rental. It's not my house. How can I sell it to you? But that's really what you're trying to do. And so we have to be really careful with that. You do not want to be double-minded. Get single-minded, then submit that single mind under the other single mind. Single-minded, you're going to make all your decisions. You'll take input, you'll listen, but you're not going to be influenced by everybody. You're going to take all under consideration. You're going to own the decisions, and then you're going to submit under the one mind, the mind of Yeshua.